Hello guys and welcome to Vlogging Project. It's Tony here, your favorite YouTuber. Today I'm going to have a look at the Pixel 8 and give you advice whether you should or should not buy it, along with all the pros and cons. And let me tell you that this video is going to be long. It's a controversial device. There are a couple of things which might be considered as deal breakers, so bear with me guys. A little bit of a backstory. Back in the day, I was really a fan of the, have a look guys, the Nexus devices. Brilliant idea. I'm not gonna go into too much detail. Let me know which Nexus is that. Let me test your nerdy knowledge about mobile phones in the comment section below. But anyways, Nexus 4 made by LG, one of my all-time favorite phones. And then for one or many more reasons, Google decided to copy Apple and to create a simpler phone with brilliant cameras, inferior hardware and expensive price tag. And just in the Android world, that just doesn't work guys. And considering they're on generation 9 at the moment, it's a proof that they still have some issues, unfortunately. Guys, this is the iPhone 7 by the way, and it looks miles better than the Pixel 8, at least in my opinion. It is very similar in design, it is slimmer, most probably have better battery life, but nevertheless, I've never been a fan of the Apple devices, but I just happen to own this one, guys, for, well, a few years now as a backup device and to play Infinity Blade. But anyways, so now let's have a look at the Pixel 8. Definitely, interesting phone. And the last Pixel that I have, actually the only Pixel that I have, was the Pixel 4 XL, a phone that I kind of didn't like guys. I've posted the review. It scored relatively high on the Vlogging Spectrum's scoring system, 39 out of 50, but I never really bought another Pixel. I just wasn't interested guys. Up until now, what my case was, I wanted to go on a holiday and didn't want to take an expensive phone with me, something with a flagship cameras which is going to get the job done. I got this one really cheaply on eBay simply because it has some damage on the screen guys. Let me tell you, show you what I'm talking about. Let me see. Well, you can see this black spot over here on the screen. Wait. Okay, so you can see this black spot on the screen over here. That's why I got it. It was really cheap. Current pricing of the Pixel 8 second hand is above £200 over here in the UK guys, and my idea was I'm gonna take it on a holiday, I'll take the photos and there we go, job done. However, after that this bad boy came along, the Oppo Find X5, £120 guys, pretty much half the price of the Google Pixel 8 and takes better photos. And this is the phone that I actually took on the holiday. I did a comprehensive testing before I taking them, and yeah, I chose the Oppo, and I don't regret it, to be honest with you. However, you're here about the Pixel and my experience with it, which has been kind of a mixed bag, to be honest with you. A little bit of a backstory: the Pixel 8 came in October 2023 for £700 guys, which was already too expensive. And what happens usually is Pixel came out very high price tag and they keep dropping the price to ridiculous levels at some point that people actually start buying them guys. There was a deal recently, I think it was on Amazon or something like that, £280 for a brand new Pixel, which is, a good price. However, the majority of the phones for sale are second hand, above £200 on eBay, for example. Now, the issue with this particular device is that it's limited by firmware and it's limited by, well, software and hardware as well. There are a couple of strong points, but guys, let's talk about absolutely everything over here. So the first thing you should know that is running the Tensor G3 third generation, Google's own SoC, which came in, well, 1 month before the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, and it was supposed to compete with the Snapdragon Gen 2. However, in all benchmarks and everything, it's more like Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 Plus. It overheats a little bit while gaming, but I'm gonna come back to that a little bit later on. But man, I mean, come on, they come out with inferior hardware to begin with, and also particularly on the Google 8, on the Google Pixel 8, you have only 8 gigabytes of RAM with no option to RAM boost whatsoever, which limits the capabilities of the RAM management pretty much. And if you open games, they're going to reload. If you have a bunch of applications opens, you're going to struggle with RAM management. There is 128 and 256 versions of the phone, no memory card slot, only one SIM slot as well, which might be an issue for quite a lot of people, including myself. Up until recently, I was rocking 2 SIM cards. Currently, I have one, which is not a problem at the moment, but if I had to, that's not even an option for me, guys. So pretty much to summarize this video, I'm going to summarize this video now. If you want the Pixel 8, get the Pixel 8 Pro. Don't buy the Pixel 8 because of the limitations of the RAM, one very important reason, and the limitations of the camera, which I'm going to come back later on. Performance wise, you don't have any issues with the performance. Check this out, guys. The phone is very nice and smooth, and partly because of the screen. Now you have a 6.3-inch 1080p screen, AMOLED of course, excellent sunlight brightness, I have to give it to that, but the panel itself is not very saturated, guys, and there is no settings to tweak the saturation whatsoever, but it's definitely fine day-to-day usage. The panel itself is a little bit on the how can I put it, softer, you know, warmer side, but that's good for the eyes and it's definitely pleasant. That's usually how I set up my phones, a little bit on the warmer side. I don't like, you know, blue tint on the screens and stuff like that, which is fine, and it's also 120 Hz, guys, which is very well. Now I've run the 3D Mark benchmarks over here. My device, the phone got Android 16 by the way, which is absolutely the same as Android 15, but nevertheless, have a look at these guys. Now, Wildfire Extreme Street Test, Screen Test, this is the latest one on Android 16. You know, the phone drops significantly in terms of throttling. Check this out, the stability goes to only 63%. As you can see, the throttling kicks in pretty much immediately. That's on normal brightness, how you usually are going to play this phone. You know, the battery drain is only 11%, it's not too bad, and temperature goes to 43 degrees, which is relatively hot, guys. However, I must say that in real time gaming experience of this phone, you're not going to get it that hot, guys, and the throttling doesn't really affect the gaming performance so much. The only thing is that, for example, Wreckfest, where is Wreckfest? Over here, guys, you can't really, well, you can, but on the maximum you know, video settings, the experience is not 100% there, guys. There's a little bit of lag, just a little bit of lag. So latest games and future proving, you might struggle to run the latest games on the maximum graphical settings, but it's still going to get the job done. Also, I had some very weird artifacting issues on this device when I first started Wreckfest. You can see a screenshot over here, guys. I've played around with the settings and I managed to fix it, but I guess this is due to the Google Tensor chip, no other reason for that. So performance wise, I don't have an issue with it, but the 8 gigabytes of RAM are definitely not going to help, guys. Now, one other thing which is very specific and we have to talk about it is the design of this phone. Now, the power button is on the wrong side. Check this out, guys. The power button is over here, and so many times I keep pressing this button and the phone doesn't unlock, where actually you have to press over here this button over here, guys. It should have been the other way around. Simple as that. At the back of the device we have this metal bar over here protecting the camera, and all the time my phone looks dirty and collects dust like that. By the way, if you're looking for a proper case for this phone, I'm using this ZAGG case over here. Really nice, thick and sturdy case for this phone. And you definitely need a case. You know why? Because the back cover is glued to the frame, similar to the Apple devices. Now, from all things, Google managed to copy this from Apple. They glued the back cover to the frame of the phone. So pretty much every single repair is a screen out job, guys, which is weird, which is definitely weird, which is not nice. The good news is that screen replacements start from £60 on eBay for this device, so it's not that expensive actually. And by the way, while we're still here, with the phone, Face Unlock works fine 100% of the time, and the fingerprint works the majority of the time. So overall, I'm very happy with the unlocking capabilities. It took Google years to introduce Face Unlock to their devices, but there we go, we have it. So now, one other thing that I should talk about is the situation with the battery and with the screens. Now, if you open up eBay, there is so many devices with broken screens from Pixel 7, Pixel 8, so many phones with broken screens, guys, and I'm really not sure what exactly are they doing with the hardware, but people keep breaking these screens left and right, everywhere. And I already told you that you're gonna have an issue with the back cover, so better put a case on this one. The other thing is something else. People have reported main boards just dying out of a sudden on the Pixel 7 devices, which is absolutely unacceptable, guys. And considering Google is promising up to 7 years worth of upgrades, take that with a pinch of salt. Your phone is not going to last more than 3 years, unfortunately. And that's the case with the battery of this phone, guys. Now, Pixel devices, there are a couple of models which always have been struggling with the batteries. Recently they released an announcement about the Pixel 6a that they're going to limit the battery to 80% charge because of issues with the battery, which is absolutely crazy. Google still can't figure out how exactly to make a good battery to last long and to have great durability and to charge fast on the Pixel devices, which is absolutely crazy, guys. So 4000 what was the battery inside? 4600, something like that, is good between 5 and 7 hours of screen on time. You can have a look at my screenshots over there, guys. So the battery life of this device is definitely, well, kind of a mid-range, to be honest with you. The majority of the time I'm getting 5 to 5.5 hours of screen on time, and considering the battery capacity and the screen is not that big, actually it should have been better, but well, it isn't. And now, how about the charging capabilities? Well, Google were kind enough not to include the charger in the box, which I'm really not happy about that, guys. They're offering a separate 30-watt charger. This is the maximum speed, 30 watt. We're talking about 2019 speeds over here, guys. 5 years ago, pretty much, we had phones charging faster. Oppo, I'm looking at Oppo right now. And unfortunately, you have to buy it separately. I think it's £35 for this charger in the Google store, which is going to charge the phone in 1 hour and 10 minutes, guys. Now, what I've done is I took my Motorola ThinkPhone. Where is it? Where is the ThinkPhone? Wait a second. Motorola ThinkPhone 25 68-watt charger, which comes in the box, by the way. This charger, and I managed to charge the phone in now 15 minutes, 28%, half an hour 46%, and 1 hour 36 minutes for 100%, which is more than the standard charger, considering this one is more powerful, which means that the phone has particular profiles in it which accepts optimal charging speeds only with the factory charger, which is not good, guys. So pretty much you're facing slow charging times, which I'm really not happy about, and for me particularly it's a deal breaker, guys. I literally never keep the phone charged overnight, but for this device every single night is on a charger. I don't like that. That ruins the battery life. Now, one more thing we have to talk about is the audio of this phone, and considering how thick this device is definitely a missed opportunity over here, guys, not to include a 3.5mm jack, but they didn't, so there we go. Yes, luckily the speakers are brilliant, guys. On the Pixel 4 XL the speakers were brilliant. these speakers are brilliant as well. And something else, while in a conversation, the earpiece gets really loud, guys. So thank you very much, Google, for at least putting a proper speakers on this device. Now, one more thing we have to talk about, software. Oh my god, Android 16, the first phone to get Android 16, which is absolutely the same as Android 15. Right, which is not good, And another feature that they've excluded over here, guys, is when you go to the battery over here, where is it? When you go to the battery health over here, was supposed to say how many total times the battery have been charged, guys, and they just decided to omit it. For example, let me show you on the Motorola device over here, the ThinkPhone 25. You go to the battery over here, have a look at that. You go to the, where is it, battery info, and boom, there you go, battery health 100%, number of full charging cycles 17. This is actually accurate because this is a new phone, guys, and Google just kind of forgot to include that, which is not very good. Luckily, the way you can check is you go to device info application and you go to battery over here, and you can see cycle count 305, guys. 300 times this phone have been charged, which is, let's say, 1 year old, something like that. And the thing is, software wise, you know, stock Android experience, which is great, it runs perfectly fine. However, dark mode is actually gray mode. It is not black dark mode, it is gray dark mode, which I don't particularly like. And it's simple, but in the same time it's a little bit dull, it's a little bit gray, it's a little bit boring. And the thing is, this notification bar over here, you can't get rid of it, which is really not nice, guys. Another thing, for example, you want to play Streets of Rage. Let me put that on the screen. Streets of Rage. You can't really control the full screen applications over here. This is cut out over here. You can't set it up, guys. There is no such an option. It doesn't exist, which is not nice. I don't like that. Double tap to sleep. It's just not there, guys. It doesn't work. So a couple of more things like that which are vital, which are essential. Let me just quickly double check my notes if I'm missing something on the software perspective, because these are things that are small, but they definitely add up in terms of, you know, the overall experience. Oh yes, another thing which is a little bit annoying, for example, internet. Now if you want to switch Wi-Fi on and off, you have to go to internet and then you have to choose your data or Wi-Fi. Why is not only one tile? There is no way to change that. The same thing for the Bluetooth on and off, simple as that. No, you have to press over here and you have to go use Bluetooth, done, and come back. For example, location, look at that, location on and off, simple as that. But no, you have to go through all that. Luckily, there is a workaround for all this stuff with a special application. Let me know in the comment section below if you're actually interested, so I can make a video of this particular application, guys. But yeah, definitely it's still lacking on the software experience, which I didn't expect, but there we go. And now lastly, let's talk about the cameras, guys. We have one 10.5 megapixel selfie camera over here, one 50 megapixel main sensor, and one, let's say, 12 megapixel. I'm gonna guess before I check my notes, 12 megapixel super wide angle camera. And by the way, this is the reality of using this phone. The back cover is always going to be smudged up like that unless you use a case. So yeah, the camera, I'm gonna sum up the camera now. The main camera, absolutely amazing, proper flagship, excellent camera. The 12 megapixel super wide angle, I don't like it. And the 10.5 megapixel selfie camera, I don't really like it. And I'm gonna tell you why, guys. Now, first of all, let's have a look at this 10.5 megapixel camera. Now, Google has been very quiet about what sensors are they using, guys, in their cameras. So in their selfie camera, let me check my notes very quickly. you're having a Samsung S5K3J1 camera used only in the Galaxy Flip 5. You can have a look at a couple of examples over here on the screen. The resolution feels a little bit low, guys. To me, overall, I can definitely see on the software side that the algorithm and the software and the AI, let's say AI, is there, but it's just when it lacks on a hardware level, the result is not very sharp images, guys. And also you actually have 4K over here, 60 FPS, which looks good. The 30 FPS looks like oversampled 1080p, guys. I'm going to give you an example over here, but it's just the videos from the selfie camera don't look very nice, which, you know, I'm not particularly happy about. Okay guys, testing the front-facing 10.5 megapixel camera of the Pixel 8 4K 60 FPS. I'm actually surprised, not sure about the stabilization though. So when we run, we get a result like that, and we can actually zoom in and out like that. So there we go. Okay, now we're looking at 4K 30 FPS with the stabilization on this different setting. About that, quick run over here. Okay. Now let's talk about the secondary camera over here, guys, the super wide angle, which is a 12 megapixel Sony IMX386, which is an 8-year-old sensor, guys. Can you believe that they've put an 8-year-old sensor in this camera that used to be you know, a main camera for a lot of phones, which were good phones back in the day, but I mean, come on, 8 years old sensor, guys. Plenty of phones use this sensor, and unfortunately the output for super wide angle is not very good, guys. You're looking at 12 megapixels, that's fine, but it's way too wide the way they did it, and it's way too soft, and the color calibration and everything is colder than the main camera, is completely different, guys. And the majority of the photos that I took, I don't particularly like those. Now, one thing that this phone is missing is you know, any kind of periscope camera or anything like that. To fix that, you have to buy the Pixel 8 Pro, unfortunately. So anyways, the main camera, guys, this is the showstopper of this phone. The main camera of this phone is a custom sensor made by Samsung called the GNV. I think it's the third generation Samsung sensor made only for Pixel devices, and Vivo X80, and a couple of Techno phones after that use this sensor, but we are going to ignore that. So we have a custom sensor, and the shots are absolutely amazing, guys. I can't really show you many examples because a lot of the photos are private and with my family, but man, you can take some absolutely stunning photos with this main sensor, guys. I am very, very happy with this sensor. You can have a look at you know, a couple of examples over here. Also, you have 4K with amazing stabilization. This is one thing that all the Pixels do very good. You have 4K, you have 60 FPS. So I'm very, very, very pleased with the main sensor of this phone, guys. So overall, it is time to conclude this video, guys. Should you buy the Pixel 8? And well, I've spent about 2 weeks of this phone. I had it for a couple of months. I spent about 2 weeks actively using this phone, guys, and the battery life is not very good. You know, I'm having RAM issues, and I'm missing a periscope camera, and also the selfie camera is not very good. And unfortunately, if you buy the Pixel 8 Pro, you're going to have the same issues because it has the same 10.5 megapixel camera. It has even worse battery life because the screen is 4K, proper 4K screen. Well, 1440p is the screen, so those two issues are the same. The only thing you're getting is the additional camera and the of course more RAM, so you're not gonna have issues with that. And of course the slow charging as well. So that's one of those videos, guys, that I can't really recommend such a device, especially considering, you know, it's 250 something pounds. To be honest with you, if you really like stock Android experience and a good camera, the Motorola ThinkPhone 25, it has a proper flagship main camera, very similar to the Pixel. It has good stereo speakers, it has a good screen as well, way better design, and it was recently new for about 220 pounds. So basically, yeah, you're better off with Motorola. That's a very weird thing to say for me, guys, but it's still stock Android experience. Really, you're better off with Motorola, not having hardware issues like the glued back cover, not having battery issues, fast charging as well. So unfortunately, this is my advice, guys. Skip this Pixel because you're going to be disappointed and buy yourself a Motorola. And of course, if you're an Oppo fanboy like me, boom, Oppo Find X5, 120 quid, and you're in the game, guys. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you very much for watching my review of the Pixel 8. I know it's long, I know it could be a little bit boring, but I thought that I have to give you all the information I have because that's some good experience that I had with this phone. And unfortunately, I'm not really going to be buying a Pixel phone anytime soon. I bought the Pixel 4 XL. I bought the Pixel 8. Probably I'm going to buy the Pixel 12 now to see how they go. But it's absolutely mind-blowing to me that Google, the richest company in the world, can't produce a proper device without hardware issues, without battery issues, without mainboard issues for so many generations now, and they're not competing with iPhone. iPhone fanboys continue to buy Apple devices because they nailed the formula once and they keep doing the same thing, where Google still can't figure out the formula of how to sell iPhone clones to the Android crowd, which is a very weird thing to say, but in their head kind of makes sense. And lastly, let's have a look at the phone, at the Volokin Spectrum scoring system. I think I gave it 38 or 39 points out of 50, which is very realistic representation of the actual capabilities of this phone. You can have a look at it compared to other phones. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you very much for staying that long into the video. Let me know in the comment section below if you actually managed to watch the whole video. I know many people don't, but nevertheless, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'm going to see you in the next video. Adios.